Okay, ready to dive in? Let's talk about bureaucracy. We all hate it, right?
Yeah.
The paperwork, the waiting, the feeling like you're just a cog in some machine.
Mhm.
But what if I told you there's a chance bureaucracy could actually be good?
Good. Okay, I'm intrigued. How do we go from soul-crushing paperwork to something actually, well, good?
That's what we're going to find out. Like, what if tech could make it all smoother? What if it made governments more transparent? That's kind of what this whole deep dive is about.
Right, right. And, our listeners, they're already thinking about this stuff. They're smart, so let's get into it.
For sure. We've got three sources. One paints a picture of how AI and all that could totally change how bureaucracy works. Then we're going to Estonia.
Estonia.
They're like a
Yeah.
real-life example of doing
Yeah.
digital government
Mhm.
stuff. And then we have to talk about the downsides, like what AI might be doing to our brains.
The good and the bad, right?
Exactly. So buckle up, because we're going from bureaucratic nightmares to a future where maybe, just maybe, starting a business takes like seconds.
And potentially messing with our brains along the way. Sounds like a trip.
Totally. Okay, so that first source, the one about tech taking over bureaucracy, what would that even look like practically?
Okay, so imagine, right, AI doing all the annoying, repetitive tasks. Think like validating requests, organizing
The
documents.
things that make you want to tear your hair out.
Yeah. But it's even analyzing tons of data to find trends, spot problems before they even happen.
So no more like sitting on hold forever waiting for someone to pick up the phone.
Exactly. Time saved, no frustration. But there's more. Think about how blockchain could make everything way more transparent.
Oh yeah, blockchain, everyone's talking about that.
We could have systems where you can just access government data, check if it's legit.
Hmm.
No more hiding stuff.
Whoa, like finally seeing behind the curtain, knowing what's really going on. That's powerful.
It is. And speaking of putting these ideas into practice, let's go to Estonia. They're like leading the way, showing us what's possible with tech and government.
Yeah, Estonia, the digital utopia everyone's talking about.
Mm.
What exactly are they doing that's so different?
Well, their e-government stuff, it's basically changed everything about how they live. Voting, taxes, even starting a business, it's all online.
No more paperwork.
A few clicks, that's it. And you know what? They save an average of 5 days a year because of this.
5 days? What would I even do with 5 extra days?
Exactly. That's 5 days you get back to actually live your life. And it gets even cooler. They have this thing called e-residency.
E-residency.
You can apply for a digital Estonian ID anyone, anywhere in the world.
So like, I could get one right now,
Mm.
even though I'm not in Estonia.
Yep. It opens up all these doors for business, for working together globally, all thanks to a digital ID. And guess what? It's built on blockchain.
Blockchain again, huh? It's everywhere.
It's at the core of their system. It keeps data safe, makes sure nobody's messing with it.
So it's like the opposite of those companies that are always getting hacked and leaking everyone's info.
Exactly. Estonia, they're all about security and transparency. But even with all this amazing stuff, there's the other side of the coin, right? We have that third source talking about the downsides of too much tech, especially what it could be doing to our brains.
Okay, so now we're talking about like digital utopia versus brain drain. That's where things get a little freaky, right?
It's not really brain drain, but it's something to think about. The
Yeah.
source talks about how some of our thinking skills, they might get weaker if we're always using tech to do the hard stuff.
Right, like if you never have to remember a phone number because it's in your phone,
Yeah.
does that part of your brain just like give up?
Exactly. It's a good example. And it's not just remembering stuff. It's critical thinking, problem solving, even empathy, maybe. Do we risk losing those if AI is making all the decisions for us, interpreting everything?
Whoa, that's a little scary, honestly. But I mean, some level of like relying on tech for thinking, isn't that just inevitable?
Yeah.
We don't use slide rules anymore.
Right. True, true. But the question is, how much is too much? Are we going to get to a point where we offload all the complicated thinking stuff and we just can't think for ourselves anymore?
So it's not about like ditching tech completely,
Yeah.
but finding that balance, right? Where it helps us, but we don't become totally dependent.
Exactly. Think of it like a calculator. It's awesome for hard math, but if you use it for basic stuff, you might forget how to do it in your head.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to bureaucracy, how could AI actually fix some of those problems we were talking about earlier?
Ooh, good point. Some people worry about AI taking over jobs, making humans obsolete and all that. But there's this whole other side, the argument that AI could make things fairer, more efficient, especially in government.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Tell me more about that.
Well, think about the things people always complain about with bureaucracy, right? It's slow, it's confusing, there's tons of mistakes.
Oh, tell me about it. I
Huh.
once spent weeks trying to get a simple permit. I thought I was going to lose it.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. It happens all the time. But the people who like AI for government, they say these systems could be designed to be way faster, more transparent, and less prone to human error.
So instead of a person having to go through piles of paperwork and make decisions, it's like an AI system that processes everything super fast, doesn't play favorites.
You got it. But of course it's not perfect. There are still those big ethical questions like how do we make sure these AI systems are fair? Who's responsible if they mess up? What about the people whose jobs get replaced?
Yeah, it's not as easy as just like turning on the AI and walking away.
Yeah,
But the potential is there, right?
Yep.
To make things so much smoother and fairer for everyone.
absolutely. Imagine if dealing with the government was as simple as buying something online. You can track your request, know it's being handled fairly no matter who you are.
I can't even imagine. It sounds amazing. But even in this future, with all the AI and stuff, we can't forget about the human side of things, can we?
Absolutely not. We still need people to design these systems, make sure they're working right, keep an eye on everything.
Which is where that whole human-centered design idea comes in, right? Making sure tech is serving us, not the other way around.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. We're the ones in control. We decide how this technology shapes our lives, not the other way around.
Exactly. Okay, so bring it back to what we were talking about before. How do we do all this amazing tech stuff without losing ourselves in the process?
Yeah.
Like, how do we stay sharp and engaged in a world that's so reliant on technology?
That's the big question, isn't it? And you know what? Our sources actually have some pretty interesting ideas on how to thrive in this tech-driven world.
Okay, lay it on me. I'm all ears.
One of the things they talk about is, get this, embracing boredom.
Boredom. Wait,
Right.
are you serious? Like, in this world where everything's happening all the time, you're telling me the secret is to just be bored.
I know, right? It sounds kind of crazy, but think about it. We're so used to being constantly stimulated, entertained, plugged in.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not doing something, my hand's already reaching for my phone, like automatically.
Exactly. And that's kind of the problem. Our brains, they need some downtime, time to process things, make connections, come up with new ideas. If we're always overloaded, they can't do that.
So you're saying, like, boredom is actually good for us.
It is. When we're bored, our minds wander, we daydream. That's when we can have those, like, aha moments.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But how do you even do that? Embrace boredom in a world that's basically designed to keep you from ever being bored.
It takes effort, for sure. Maybe putting your phone away for a few hours each day or just scheduling some time where you're not doing anything planned.
So, like, no checking emails, no scrolling social media, just being...
Exactly. The point is to unplug, let your brain chill out.
All right. I'm willing to try. But, like, should I be doing something specific during that time or just letting my mind go wherever?
Both can be good. Doing things that make you think, that's super important.
Like puzzles, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Or reading, learning a new language, playing an instrument, anything that makes your brain work.
So it's not just about avoiding tech. It's about, like, actively using your brain.
Right. And don't forget about moving your body, too.
Wait, exercise is good for your brain. I
Yeah.
thought that was just for, like, muscles and stuff.
No, exercise helps your brain, too. Gets the blood flowing up there, helps your brain cells.
So long they'll think better, Andy, look better. Win-win.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be a marathon, just a walk, some yoga, even gardening. Anything that gets you moving.
Okay, so we've got embracing boredom, challenging our brains, exercising. Anything else?
Sleep. Super important. That's when your brain really gets to work. Sorting through memories, cleaning up.
Oh, I love sleep. But it's hard to get enough sometimes, you know?
I hear you. Try to have a regular sleep schedule. Don't drink coffee or alcohol right before bed. Make a little relaxing routine.
So no more scrolling on my phone in bed.
Probably best to avoid that, yeah. The light from your phone can mess with your sleep.
You know what? I'm done with that. No more phone before bed, starting tonight.
Good for you. And one last thing, and it might be the most important. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you're struggling. If you're feeling stressed, anxious, talk to someone.
Right. There's no shame in that. It's actually really brave to ask for help.
Exactly. You're not alone in this. We're all figuring this stuff out together. We can build a future where tech helps us, but doesn't change who we are.
I love that. Okay, so to wrap things up for our listeners today, remember, embrace the boredom, challenge your brain, move your body, sleep well, and don't be afraid to reach out for help if you need it. Oh, and remember, you're in control of technology. It's a tool. Use it to make your life better Don't let it use you.
Well said. We get to decide what the future looks like.
And on that note, we'll leave you to think about all this stuff. Until next time, stay curious and stay human.